Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I am in a beautiful sunflower field. I'm scouting for locations to photograph the Milky Way, the star trails, and there's a meteor shower where we can expect up to like 100 meteors an hour, which is incredible. So where do I shoot? Where do I set up? Where's the Milky Way gonna be? So stay tuned. Thank you for joining. And let's get into it. If you're new to this channel, my name is Shannon and I'm a full-time photographer in beautiful British Columbia. From soaring mountains to hidden waterfalls and elusive wildlife to stunning sunsets, I'm excited to film each step of the way. Whether you're here to learn, be inspired, or simply enjoy some stunning visuals, you've come to the right place. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. Oh, she's a beauty. I'm finding out where the best opportunities are, where to place the background subjects. Like there's a couple of barns back here, there's an old farmhouse back here, there's some of these really cool Douglas fir trees. So where do I shoot? Where do I set up? Where's the Milky Way gonna be? And one app that I love sharing with you guys, I'm not sponsored by them. This is PhotoPills. I could plan out my whole shoot here during the daytime and actually see where the sun is rising and setting if I want those pictures. But also, more importantly for me now, is the Milky Way. Where is it gonna be in the sky? And where do I want my camera to be set up? What's gonna be in the foreground? What's gonna be in the background? If I go to Planner, I can go to Google Maps, you can pick it up and you can move it anywhere on the map and you can drop that marker. You can see actually when sunrise, sunset is, where the Milky Way is. See that long string of dots there? But you can go down here into night air, which means augmented reality, and you can actually see the area where you are right on the app. And if I click now, it'll say where it is now, where the Milky Way is, where the stars are, and the Milky Way is over this way right now. But as I move my thumb across, it'll show you the time is changing there. And the Milky Way is now pretty much completely vertical at 11 p.m. right here. These are the sunflowers I want. Where is the Milky Way gonna be pointing? Right behind them. And it says here it's gonna be 1 a.m. or 12:55 p.m. and the Milky Way is gonna be right here. So there's a few things you're gonna need when photographing long exposures of the stars, Milky Way, meteors, star trails. One thing is a sturdy tripod. Now you don't have to go too crazy. I've got a bigger tripod right here that allows me to get up really nice and tall if I did need to get the whole field of sunflowers And that can be quite useful since I am using a super wide angle lens. And if I tilt up into the sky, I'm gonna get a lot of distortion, and the sunflowers are gonna be skewed if I'm really low. They're gonna have really tall kind of stems, which some of them do anyways. But if I get up nice and high, I can still get a whole field there that kind of looks like a field and get the whole Milky Way up above. I parked my Jeep in here and I stood on top on a really tall tripod and set everything up to take pictures of like the Milky Way, so I got the whole field down in the foreground. So that's where you might want a taller tripod if you're trying to get more of the field of sunflowers in this case. But if it's something like this where you're just getting a few in the foreground sticking up in the sky, you can just use a small tripod, just something that keeps your camera nice and sturdy. So I want to come out when it's not super windy. This wind right now should die down once all the thermals and the heat that's rising kind of calms down after twilight. Fingers crossed. Next is to have a wide angle lens. Now the rule of thumb when it comes to getting sharp stars is the 500 rule. So you take 500 and you divide it by your focal length. Say if you're shooting with the 20 mil, you'll be able to open your shutter for say 25 seconds to get fairly sharp images. Now it's very important to take your shot and then examine it, zoom in, make sure that everything is nice and sharp. Another very, very important tip is that on your lens, infinity is a loose spot within your lens. You know, is that the first, the last, is it in between the infinity symbol? There's a lot of space in between. And if you aren't checking to see if your stars are nice and sharp, you might be out of focus. Next thing you're gonna wanna do is check to see if you have an interval program in your camera. So interval shooting, it just allows you to take multiple shots one after another, and a lot of newer cameras have them built in. If you don't have it in your camera settings, you're gonna wanna use this. This right here is an intervalometer. I can hook it up to my camera, and then I could program this remote right here to take photos, say every 26 seconds for the next 3 hours, as long as I want, really. I can even program it to take a certain number of images, say 600 images, and then for it to stop. So this is great. It does take batteries, so you're gonna wanna make sure you have new batteries popped into here. But this camera right here, the Z9, actually has the setting built in, so I can just program the camera and then it'll just do its thing and I can walk away from it. Let's jump into the Z9 here and go to the photo shooting menu where you'll see interval timer shooting. Now keep in mind, if you have bracketing set or some other type of shooting preference that's going to change your exposure, this will be grayed out and you won't be able to select it. So once you select interval timer setting, you can go ahead and choose a date. This is if you want to leave your camera there and just have it start at a date and time. Then you want to set your interval. So if you're shooting 25-second long exposures, you can set it for 26 seconds so that there's 1 second for it to write to your memory card. I'm going to keep exposure smoothing turned off. If you have it turned on, it's going to take extra processing power to go ahead and smooth out the exposure, and that just takes too much time when you want to keep taking photos one after another so you don't have any gaps in your stars. You can have it so that the focus before each shot is turned off. If that's turned on, this is going to hunt and pull focus every time, and at nighttime it just doesn't work. You're going to have blurry images. Now on the DSLR, here is where you'll want to switch either this onto manual mode, like that, instead of automatic focus, or on the lens itself, you can switch it over into manual mode. You can also set your interval shots to say 300 or 600 in a series. I just pick 900 or 1000 and turn off the camera whenever I feel like it. Next thing for weather is checking to make sure that you have clear skies. Now we have to deal with forest fire season, so smoke coming. You got to check now to see if there's any forest fires, pollution, light pollution. There's apps and stuff that actually tells you where maybe in your area is the darkest skies. They take some pictures. Here, there's not sunflower fields all over the place, so there is going to be light pollution, and I have to kind of deal with that, but I like the foreground subject. Bring lots of batteries, bring claws, because with clear skies comes colder temperatures, and if there's moisture in the air, you can get some heavy dew. Now, you can check the weather network as well for when that dew point is going to hit. But I check my lenses anyways, even if it's after that, to make sure that there isn't any dew on the front of the lens so I can wipe it off to get nice pictures. It really sucks when you come home and you take a look at all your images and like over half of them are ruined because there's dew on the front of your lens. This right here, this is a tilt shift lens. I should do a whole episode just on tilt shift. Really great for architectural photography. So buildings that you don't want to be warped from a wide angle lens, when you tilt it up, you're gonna get all of this concaving. This allows the lens to split apart from one another so that the image sensor and that the lens allows for the building, the upper part of the building, or in this case maybe the sky, to be a part of the image without having to tilt it back. So what do I mean by that? Well, if I'm photographing these sunflowers and I shoot at a level horizon, I'm only going to get maybe 50% or even 30% of the sky, and the rest of it's going to be these sunflowers. And if I tilt back, all of those sunflowers are going to tilt in, and I'm going to get the sky, but it's going to be distorted. I actually set this up with the D850 to try and get pictures of the North Star and the star trails around the North Star without getting too much distortion. So I connected this to the D850, and then I raised this portion of the lens up so that I had less of the foreground and more of the sky, but still remaining level with the horizon. So that's the tilt shift lens. It's usually used for commercial architectural photography, but pretty cool in astrophotography. The downsides with this one, this is a 19mm, expensive Nikkor lens, but beautiful. It's a great one. Is that there isn't any hood for this lens, and check out the dome on that. So if I have a headlamp and I'm walking around, I'm gonna want to make sure that a light isn't hitting this at all, even from the side, or else it's going to refract in that dome, that glass dome that I have here. So it's not great for lighting conditions at night. If you are getting light pollution, like a street light, that's going to screw up your image. That's my next thing that you're going to want to bring is a headlamp. The Nikon is great for being able to turn it on, and there's a little feature that glows up a lot of the buttons. That's pretty awesome. My Sony doesn't have that. Headlamp's going to be great for seeing everything, but you're going to want to make sure it's nice and low. If you hear my kid in the back, he's just saying gooby gobby baby things. But this is the D850, and this is the little window right here. There we go. Closed and open. So at nighttime, if you do have a headlamp on, you're going to want to make sure that you don't shine it into here when you're out taking photos, so that light doesn't bounce around inside here. This is a mirrorless. You don't have to worry about that because this is just an electronic viewfinder. So I'm just finishing taking some photos, seeing what the 500 will look like. I've taken some shots with my macro lens, or micro lens I should say, and the 24 to 70. So yeah, I'm gonna pack up. Then we're gonna come back at nighttime and take some star photos. So there's a lot of post-processing that goes into the Milky Way shots. There's a lot of light pollution, and throughout the night it kind of changed. I don't know if there was some lights from other nearby buildings that turned off or turned on, so the color kind of changed a little bit. And then the star trails, there's a lot of images that are stacked together to get those star trails, and I feel like that's going to have to be an editing video somewhere down the line. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Which one kind of stood out? Is it the one that has tons of colors, vertical, horizontal, that sort of thing? I also wanted to point out that I have a wildlife workshop. It's a grizzly bear multi-day. You join me photographing grizzly bears, and we're bound to see whales, white-sided dolphins, eagles, that sort of thing as well. Here's a short little clip about what we can experience on our trip. So if you want to join me, there's a link down below. I think I have 2 spots left. I just posted it a few weeks ago, and we're almost full. So be sure to go ahead and check out the information down in the link. If you like this content, please give me that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. So great to have you guys here. Let me know down in the comments how you photograph nighttime. What camera settings are you using? What camera bodies are you using? And lenses, because everyone has different lenses. It's great for everyone to share kind of their settings and their details. So let me know down in the comments down below, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks again. Bye.